Hello, my name is Michele Jaslow. I'm a member of the Board of Directors of Open Source Gallery and an independent curator based in Brooklyn, New York. As part of the Artists at Home series, we are conducting interviews with artists open source has worked with in the past. I'm here with ceramist and educator Andrew Snyder. Andrew exhibits nationally and teaches ceramics and digital modeling at Westchester University of Pennsylvania. So Andrew, what's it like for you these days?
Well, hello. Thank you for having me, Michelle.
Yeah.
So what is it? I'm spending a lot of time down here in my basement studio. I'm spending a lot of time Zooming with students and more time on my computer than I like. But as far as like what I've been up to right now, is, you know, as a ceramics artist, a lot of our practice is in firing our work. And, you know, most ceramics artists are pretty used to community spaces. So we don't have that right now. I have a small studio here at home, but I don't have a kiln because most of the time I just use the school studios because.
Oh, right. And you're probably used to like a much bigger kiln. So that's going to affect the size of your work, right?
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I mean, we can get to that in a minute, but like a lot of my work since my show at Open Source has gone to more social engagement. So it's been less about the finished object so much. And so the ceramics, but I teach ceramics. So I always have my foot in the door, the object door. So that's the hardest part is firing though. So what I did for my students is, and they're in the same boat as us in that, you know, except for they don't have access to clay and that kind of thing.
Right.
So I did a wild clay foraging series for my students. And
I saw that on YouTube. I think that's so clever that you created these YouTube videos while we are in this crazy sort of on hold time. Yeah, if you could speak a little bit about that, that'd be great. So
sure, yeah. So I have never done clay foraging before. I have I have used foraged clay before that had been prepared for me, but I had never done it before. So I knew that it was around, and I think the important part about the videos, I think it's called Free and in the Wild, is that clay is everywhere. You know, they're not scripted videos. I literally, like, the first one I walked out my back door in my backyard and dug a couple holes. The first one I did not find any clay. The second one I did. And then we went to a river that was not too far from our house and we found clay with my daughters, my 10 and 12-year-old daughters. And then I showed students how to process their clay, which I did know how to do that. I just had never dug my own clay before. But, you know, I gotta say, after the fact, I really loved it. And I think right now it's interesting to be in this situation where we're all stuck at home and, you know, I didn't have any clay at home, but I just went out back and dug it up and, you know, I was making bowls that afternoon. So I don't know. I think also ceramics artists are used to disappointment. We have a lot of that started very early.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
You know, there's very common, like, when you're a beginning level student and your piece blows up in the kiln or the glaze runs all over the place, you're used to like being really happy when something works and being, all right, kind of expecting something bad to happen. So I will say, like, I follow a lot of ceramics artists on Instagram, and, you know, I think I have a love-hate relationship with social media. But I will say, like, I had been on a little bit of a hiatus before all this happened, and I'm you know, really thankful for social media right now, you know, because I still get to see my friends, like literally my friends, you know, not like your friends, and still get to see their practices. And as far as like, there are so many ceramics artists that are putting out really great content right now. Like two that come up to my mind right off the bat is Sunshine Cobb and Melissa Weiss, who are both really well-known ceramics artists, and they're doing like a lot of tutorials on how-tos, and you know, it's really great seeing their process.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I think that that's something that that maybe they wouldn't have even thought to produce, you know, and something that we would never get to see. So I think that that's really exciting, you know, I think that that's really exciting. So how are your students, you know, how are these like future soon to be professional artists? Like, what's up with them?
What is up with them?
Yeah.
So one student in particular, so we have a small department. I usually have anywhere between 3 and 7 ceramics majors at a time. This semester, I had 3, and one student in particular, I feel like she's really gotten the short end of the stick, and in reality, like all seniors, you know, seniors in college,
Yeah.
seniors in high school, like they're really getting the short end of the stick because they've worked so hard over the past few years.
Their thesis shows. Oh,
Yeah. I mean, I'm so glad that I'm not in graduate school right now. Like, I don't know what I would do. Like,
yeah.
you know, it's like you work so hard for these things, and then to have them canceled like last minute is just heartbreaking. But what are they doing? Like, I feel like my students, just like everybody else, have been crushing it. They're out there digging holes and finding clay and making stuff from home. And you know, this one student, Madeline Consugar, you can find some of her videos on YouTube as well. She started a channel, and she's doing smoke firings. You know, this is like things that are not in her normal wheelhouse.
Right.
And she's just crushing it. So I don't know. I feel like artists in general are out there, and we're creative thinkers, and we can adapt. And I think that all of my young students, they're all just adapting, and they're all doing like, you know, really interesting work, I think. And you know, what does that mean though, right? Because, you know, places when you're graduating are usually like you're trying to get jobs and that kind of thing. And I don't know, because it's so uncertain right now. So.
Right. Wow, it's interesting, but it's really great to know that they're just not sort of giving up, you know, the ship, that they're like figuring out how to do it. And ceramists, you're right, that's what they do. This is like how your brains are wired, you know? So you guys are like perfect for this kind of situation.
Yeah, unfortunately, I will say, like, as a joke, when I had my first job, when I was 14, and I was putting bicycles together at my grandfather's auto parts store. He gave me a business card, and it said Andrew Snyder, and my title was problem solver. And I've kept them to this day. And I use that as my title. I like that idea.
Yeah.
And I feel like most artists are problem solvers.
Right.
And we'll figure it out, because we're creative, and we're not doing it for the money anyway. So we're gonna still do it, and we'll figure it out even without our institutions or our galleries or whatever.
Right. Well, that's great. I'm wondering if you could show us around your studio. Is that cool?
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So my current practice right now, I'm working on a lot of how to super basic woodworking for young people. So that's sort of like in a nutshell, that's what I've been working on. So I do a lot of rehabilitation of like tools, you know, like hand planes and stuff. This is, look at.
I had to interrupt you and tell everyone that you have actually 2 studios, and this is your,
This is my, when it's raining, or I live out in the country, and we have a barn that is my fair weather studio, and that's where I do most of my work. But down here is what I like. I'll do like rehab for tools and that kind of thing. And right now my current practice is dealing with skateboards, actually. You know, so building skateboards for young people and empowering them to build them also. So here's one that's on my bench right now. So I can get it there. Yeah. So this is we're bending the boards, and there's a couple boards there in the corner. And let me see, I'll go over here, because here's some finished boards. So I can't steer this thing.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. So like they're more collaborative. So I'm making the boards, and then I'm having students and friends and anyone really finish the board. So painting and that decorating kind of thing.
So this is your like woodworking practice, right?
Yeah, and
right.
So I think for me, I think it's so important for young people to build things, and I know you guys at Open Source do that in spades with your pine-wood, or not pine-wood derby. What's that called?
We have a whole series of educational, like ship building and soapbox cars.
That's what I was
thinking of. Yeah.
So I think like a lot of it was like when I was young, like my woodshop class is what really got me in, because I didn't take ceramics in high school or anything. I just took art classes, and I took woodshop. And the woodshop class was really what got me into using my hands, which I think like generally, I hate to be like so black and white, but there is a little bit of, like image maker or object maker. And, I think I consider myself to be an object maker. And I really got into that when I was in woodshop and in high school. And they don't do that anymore. This is me sound like an old guy. It's like back in my day, we used to do the woodshop.
Yeah.
But so that's really what, like, I'm in a transitional period from the work that I was doing when I showed at Open Source into what I'm working on now. So that was my plan for this summer. Was actually I have my barn is set up for like a classroom for building skateboards, and we're canceled, of course, because of the virus.
Right.
So I'm going to do online woodworking classes. You're not going to be able to do skateboards because there's a lot of stuff that goes into bending them and that kind of thing. But I'm going to do some just like really simple DIY type woodworking projects.
So if this goes on and you can't access like the large kilns at school, what's your plan B, C? Yeah.
So my plan is for fall, for my ceramics classes I'm pretty sure I will be able to get, like, I personally will be able to get into the building, to the art building. So what I will, over the summer at some point. So what I'm going to do is, whenever they open up campus, because right now campus is still closed.
Okay.
Whenever they open up campus, then I'm going to go to school and mix tons of clay, and I'm going to bag it, and have it on the loading dock for students to pick up. Because,
that's great.
Like right now, I feel like the free and in the wild clay foraging works out okay because it's springtime. If it was winter, it would be a different story. So anyway, as far as like what I'm going to do is I'll be building shelves on the back loading dock, because like the loading dock is right behind the ceramic studio. So like at school, the ceramic studio, and then there's the loading dock.
Right.
So I'm building shelves out back. You know, even if they don't cancel classes, I'm doing it just as a precaution. So that way students can then drop their work off, and then maybe I will be able to go into the building and just fire their work. Because I can't do another semester of what I've just done, because
Right.
we had classes for the first 7 weeks of classes, and then so they already got a lot of my demos and that kind of thing. But like if they don't get the demos in the first place, like I don't want to go 100% online for ceramics. Hopefully that we'll have some time in person, but who knows? I'm not going to hold my breath, because I wager it's going to be still online in the fall.
I mean, I think a lot of arts educators I'm imagining, are in the same boat as you are, you know, and trying to figure out how you can support your students and how you can keep moving and, you know, and sharing your lessons. And
Yeah, well, I will say like the I don't know, the Google Classroom, if you guys have kids, like
yeah,
it's awesome. Like, I mean, Google Classroom is so easy. And
right.
it's like easy for the teachers to upload. It's easy for the students to then view. So the collaboration with students actually, I think, is better now than it was before, just because I combined all of the ceramics classes into one Google Classroom. So usually I'll have 3 classes, and then the other ceramics professor will have 2 classes. So we'll have 5 classes, and they, just the nature of a ceramic studio, a lot of times like you'll run into people from the other classes while you're there late at night doing stuff. So in that same vein, I wanted to make sure that like digitally it was similar. So we put all of them together, and it's been really good because people have been sharing their processes from, you know, like digging on the street, you know, like it's been really cool, because I would not have gotten to see the other ceramics professors, students doing it. So anyway.
So in many ways, there's a lot of positive that's coming out of it, it sounds like, for you, you know.
I will say for sure, like,
Yeah.
you know, I of course wish that this wasn't happening, and I
Yeah.
love teaching in person. Like I miss my students for sure, because it's not the same doing it on a computer screen.
Right.
But I will say, like what I said earlier is we've rose to the occasion, I feel like, as artists and teachers, you know, like my kids' teachers, God bless them, man. Like anybody that's a teacher is working their butt off for their students. And anybody saying that they're vacation or something, working hard. I don't know. I don't want to go on a rant. I'm sorry.
Oh, I think you.
Oh no, I'm losing you.
Yeah, you're frozen a bit.
Oh,
you're back. You're back.
You're there now?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
Oh, you're frozen a bit. Oh.
Anyway.
I mean, this is all part.
Am I still frozen?
No, you're good. But this is all part of it. This connection, you know. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say this is a good connection because I'm right underneath our router. This is where the best internet in the house.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, I think maybe this is a good time to start wind things up, but I feel like I've learned a lot, and I feel like I'm actually coming away feeling really hopeful about like the future artists, and also just like really impressed with how you're able to move forward and think things through and problem solve. It's all really, it's great. It's been really great speaking with you.
Oh, you too. Thank you for having. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no problem. Have a good one. Thank you again.
All right. Well, see you around. Yep.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.